everyone, it's me, Aaron, Professor Thorgy, your guide to all things geeky, although today, you're going to be my guide to all things geeky. Yes, you see, all month long on this channel, we've been making lots of top 10s and look backs at 2016, but at the beginning of this month, I asked you guys to give me your top 3 favorite games, movies, and comics of 2016. Then I asked you to rank those top 3 choices. I took every single choice that you put at number 1 and I gave it 3 points. Every one that you put at number 2, 2 points, and every one that you put at number 3, 1 point. Then I took all those points, added them together, and then ranked every single one of those submissions by how many points they got in order to figure out your top 10 games, movies, and comics of 2016. And this weekend, we are going to start going over each of those. Now, before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support that you showed to this crazy idea. I had no idea if this was going to work. I had no idea if anybody was going to care about this. I figured I might get like 20 submissions, 20, 30, max 40. I got 250. Wow. Thank you guys for that. Really, I was not expecting that much support from you guys. I was not expecting you guys to really dig on this idea. And I think it's awesome that you guys decided to jump into this because, as I said at the beginning of the month, this year I want to focus a little bit more on getting more interactive ideas with you guys, make more videos that involve your feedback on stuff. So this was really my first big experiment with that, so I am really glad that you guys went along with it, and hopefully it will make for a fun couple of videos. So let's get into it, and today we're going to be taking a look at your top 10 favorite
games
of 2016. What? I'm not going to record that intro 3 times? Are you kidding me? Fine, okay, I'll record it 3 times. Today we're looking at your top 10 favorite video games. Now, I will just go ahead and say, if you look in the comments down below, if you look in the description down below, you will see every single game that you guys submitted ranked by how many points they got. There were many of them, but you might notice that a couple of them weren't there. A couple of them you guys submitted were actually games from 2015, so I couldn't really count those. Also, I decided, and I should have made this clear in the video, this is all my fault, but I decided not to count any re-releases, especially like, HD re-releases or collection re-releases or anniversary editions. I wanted these to be all brand new games that came out in 2016. So if you don't see one of those submissions down below, sorry about that again. That was my fault for not making that clear. But I hope that you guys do enjoy this video. And like with any of my top 10s, of course, we're going to start with a few honorable mentions. And the way that I determine honorable mentions, like I said, I assign points to every single one of the games that you guys submitted, and then I rank them according to those points. However, I decided any game that ended up getting 10 or more points, I'm still going to list as an honorable mention. So here you go, your honorable mentions.
Watch Dogs 2, XCOM 2, Ratchet and Clank, Battlefield 1, and Titanfall 2. Now moving on to the official list, at numbers 9 and 10 we have a tie. Both Last Guardian and Stardew Valley received the same number of points, and it's understandable why both of them would be on this list. Last Guardian, yes, a lot of people have criticized it because, it took too long and it feels like a PlayStation 3 game. But to the people who can look beyond that, this truly is a touching, moving experience, especially to anybody out there who owns a pet. The giant bird, dog, cat creature of Trico really does feel like an animal. He feels like a companion, and if you watch him closely enough, then you begin to learn little things about him, about how to communicate with him, about how to work with him, that does make him seem far more lively and far more lifelike than pretty much any other companion that you've ever had in a video game. And Stardew Valley, listen, I'll admit, I started playing this one, and this is at the top of my list of games I wish I had more time on. Unfortunately, I just couldn't spend a lot of time working on this game. I had to move on to other stuff, but from what people have told me, especially my wife, who is a massive fan of this, she is actually attempting to complete this game 100%. This is one of those games that the more time you put into it, the more reward you get back. The more you watch your town grow, the better it feels because you know that you did that. The more you interact with people, the stronger you do feel like your bond is becoming with them. I love games like that, and in all honesty, I really hope that one day I do get a chance to return to this game. Next, at number 8 is Fire Emblem Fates. Now, this was a very unique game because it came out with 2 versions, kind of in the same way that Pokemon does. However, unlike Pokemon, this wasn't just the exact same gameplay experience, but with a couple different changes in there. This really did feel like 2 different games. It's a story in which you find out that the family that you have been growing up in, the royal family of this giant ruling army, has actually not been your real family. You were actually stolen as a child from this other royal family who has been fighting back against your country, and now you have to decide whose side are you on. And if you choose one of the games, then you join up with your birth family. If you choose the other game, then you join up with the family that stole you as a child. It is a very interesting way to tell this story. You join up with totally different party members depending on what side you choose. The way that you feel about these characters is completely different depending on which path you take. This is a gameplay experience unlike anything I've ever seen, and it kept all the stuff that I absolutely loved from the previous Fire Emblem game. I would go on and say more about this, but in all honesty, I think this might end up being on my 10 favorite games of the year list, so I will save the rest of my comments for then. At number 7, the Batman Telltale series. Ever since Telltale took The Walking Dead and attempted to interpret that into a choose-your-own adventure-style video game, they really have created their own little special niche. They have created a type of game that is unique to them and has built up a huge fan base. But you know who has an even bigger fan base than pretty much anything? Batman. So giving players the opportunity to finally step into the shoes of the Caped Crusader and not just go out there and beat up thugs, but actually choose which paths he goes down. Choose how he solves this case. Choose how he interacts with his friends and future villains. It was a way of telling a Batman story unlike anything we had ever seen. So for anybody out there who is a massive Batman fan, and after looking at the score results for both favorite movies and favorite comics, I can guarantee there are a ton of Batman fans who watch my channel. So for any Batman fan out there, this was an experience that they had kind of been waiting for. This really was a way of telling a Batman story from a totally different perspective. At number 6, Dark Souls 3. I have never seen a fan base sprout up quite like the Dark Souls fan base. It has been amazing to me how this came in here and completely created its own new style of fantasy combat games, and they have just taken the world by storm. It is amazing to me that a game can be this challenging, this difficult, and drive you to the brink of maximum saltiness, and yet it keeps so many people coming back for more. That speaks very highly to the success of this franchise, and why even after 3 different installments, it is still making it this high on the list. It's because people love the world of these games. It's because people love the lore of these games and how you have to dig through these games to figure out what the history of it is. They love the giant monsters, and they love a game that can finally challenge them. By the way, if you think that my description of Dark Souls 3 sounds kind of vague, it's because I am horrible at Dark Souls and I did not play this one. I apologize. However, if you guys do want to check out another YouTube channel where they absolutely love Dark Souls and really do go into detail about what makes it a great game, then go ahead and check out Rage Select. It's a Let's Play channel and a podcast, and the guy who runs that channel is a massive Dark Souls fan. And when I talk about how I have seen the passion for this franchise sprout up, I am specifically referencing that guy. He does an amazing job of breaking down why the Dark Souls franchise works. So if you ever want to hear his thoughts on it, go ahead and check out his channel. Number 5, Final Fantasy 15. Now, I will go ahead and admit, I have very mixed feelings about the way that this game ends, about the last couple chapters of the game. However, this is still going to be on my 10 favorite games of the year list because I fully understand how good the good parts of this game are. When this game works, it's amazing. I had no idea how they were going to be able to make this Americana road trip style story work in a Final Fantasy world where there are giant wizard cats roaming around, and yet somehow they made it work. It all felt very natural, and as you play through it, I slowly realized that even if I did not get the full backstory on these characters, I still got an attachment to them. just playing alongside Prompto and Ignis and Gladius for that many hours and getting that many exchanges between them, yeah man, I kind of started to bro out with these guys. I started to go, that's my dude over there. I understand him now. And after so many years of Final Fantasy 13 over and over and over again, just not really understanding what made Final Fantasy work, listen, as I said, I still have a couple of complaints about this game, but man, did it feel good to have side quest again. I love that this game just opened up the world to you at the very beginning and went, hey man, just go and explore, do what you want. They turned Final Fantasy into an open world game, and it worked so well. At number 4, Doom. Alright, quick story. I never really played Doom when I was a kid because I got motion sickness from first-person shooters, but over the years I've learned to deal with that, and video games have improved their graphics to the point where it doesn't really bother me anymore. So when this Doom game came out, I was super excited to be able to finally pick it up and finally experience it, and this felt like what people had been telling me about for almost 2 decades. This felt like the gameplay experience that everyone loved from the first Doom, and that's what's amazing to me, is that they took this old school shooter and fully upgraded it without losing anything, only adding on to it. The pace everything moves at, the action, the combat, the way that it just makes you feel unstoppable, but then a second later your health will almost be completely out, but then bam, you punch a guy and your health is now fully charged back up again. It was the gameplay experience of a roller coaster ride. It constantly just kept giving me ups and downs and loops and tricks that made me want to keep playing it. This is one of the most exciting games I have played this year, and I fully agree with it being this high on the list. At number 3, Uncharted 4. It's a rare thing for a game franchise these days to say, we're going to give you the final installment of this character story and not leave you wanting anything else. Heck, that doesn't just apply to video games, that applies to pretty much any medium. Who here has not read the final chapter in a book series or watched the final episode of a great TV series and thought, yeah, it was good, but it could have been a little bit better? Uncharted 4 to me was the best possible ending to Nathan Drake's story. I have no idea how they were able to introduce a secret brother who had apparently been there the whole time, but we never ever knew about, and yet still made it feel natural, made it feel like, oh yeah, I totally buy this. And then they were able to give us such a deep connection and emotional story between these two guys, all the while still putting in there all the exciting Uncharted gameplay experience that we have come to expect. And dear God, the graphics. Oh my God, did this game look stunning. Number 2, Pokemon Sun and Moon. Pokemon Sun and Moon is a very unique entry into this game series because it's the first time in 20 years that they came in and went, let's just completely scrap everything we've been doing. Let's go in here and that whole gym battle system and all that, yeah, it's gone. We're going to start from the ground up, which is something that I know a lot of fans have been asking for the longest time. And in all honesty, I was not one of those fans because I thought, yeah, it's the gyms and Pokemon, it goes hand in hand. How on earth are you going to change that? They changed it, and it worked. As soon as I started playing this, I got a little bit nervous because I thought, oh man, the gyms aren't going to be here. And then it slowly just kind of dawned on me, there's something else in here that works equally as well, but at the same time doesn't feel just like a ripoff of the gyms. It feels like a brand new installment. It feels unique. It feels different. And that's something that the Pokemon franchise has been needing for the longest time. Take all that and add in there all these great new Pokemon, the amazing new characters. Seriously, this game had some of the best characters in the entire Pokemon franchise. And what, to me, in my personal opinion, is hands down the best story in any Pokemon game, this might very well be the best installment in this game's franchise. And at number 1, with 121 points, Overwatch. It honestly is no surprise to me that you guys voted Overwatch number 1, simply because this is a game that works on every single level. What game out there had the best character designs of the year? Overwatch. What game had some of the most fun gameplay of the year? Overwatch. What game had some of the richest backstory of any this year? Overwatch. What game kept giving you free updates over and over and over again throughout the year? Overwatch. What game kept giving you new ways to play it to keep you coming back even after you thought you might be getting tired of it? Overwatch. What game got first-person shooter fans and non-first-person shooter fans to become obsessed with it and learn how to play it? Overwatch. What game had the widest variety of characters who all were so equally balanced and yet played completely different? Get out here, Street Fighter V. We're not talking about you. We're talking about Overwatch. And what game had a fan base that exploded around it, started coming up with their own fictions around the game, started coming up with their own theories about the game, and had a development team listen to that audience and encourage them to keep dreaming about this game? Overwatch. This game is easily going to be on my 10 favorite games of the year list, so I will talk more about my personal feelings about the game when I get to that video. However, for this video, just talking about the reasons why people would vote this #1 best game of the year, I fully understand that because this is a game that spoke to so many people. Not just with the fun gameplay, not just with the community that sprouted up around it, but also because I have been saying from day one that the most important thing about heroes, about protagonists, about characters in any geeky medium is it's important that everybody out there gets one. And when I look at this cast of characters, I am blown away by the fact that almost everybody out there has a hero. Almost everybody can look at this game and identify with someone, and if you can't identify with someone, Blizzard is continuously making characters. They are going to keep putting characters out for this game. Eventually, there's going to be a character that you can look at and go, now I want to play Overwatch because I want to learn how to play that character. That's it for today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and a special thank you to every single person out there who voted in this poll. I got so many more votes than I was expecting. I was blown away by it. It really says a lot about how big the community around this channel is becoming, so I thank every single person out there who submitted their vote. And if you guys want to see my personal favorite 10 video games of the year, then make sure that you come back next week. Also, if you want to follow me anywhere else around the internet, just search for me on Twitter and Tumblr at Professor Thorgy. And also, you can find me at Professor Thorgy on Twitch. We do Twitch streams every single weekend in which we just play a random video game and we just kind of chill out and talk for an hour. So if you guys want to join us for that, then again, it's twitch.tv/Professor Thorgy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Make sure that you come back next time.